I have a question for you. Yes or no? Do you believe that despite this crummy environment that we live in, this crummy nutritional environment, where we're oversaturated with sugar and hyper-processed, hyper-delicious foods, do you believe that despite all of that, you can still take your health into your own hands and eat well? If the answer is no, click on. I can do nothing for you. If the answer is yes, keep watching. I've got some tips for you. I'm gonna give you some good tips. I'm gonna give you some hard tips. There's a couple. I've got about 4 or 5. I don't know. I should have decided before I started talking. We'll see how many I hit on before 10 minutes is up. I try and keep the videos around 10 minutes. But I do have some tips for you that if you follow them, you're gonna be doing a lot better than almost everybody else. Because it's true, we do have an obesity problem. We have an energy problem. Everybody's just so low energy. Everyone's so low energy and they feel crummy all the time. That's no way to live. That's no way to be. And these are real things that I think can actually help you if you actually do them. I am not in the business of blowing smoke up your bum and telling you that this is going to change your life when it's not. It might. I don't want to blow smoke up your bum. I want to blow nutritional, helpful things up your bum so you might absorb them. Because if you go rectal, you actually absorb things faster. That's why, that's what enemas. Well, that's a different discussion. That's not one of my tips. Don't do that. Unless you want to give it a try. I don't know. I haven't done it myself. It's on my bucket list. I'm going to start with the sucky ones. Here are some tips of how you can navigate this weird environment that we live in. It's not a bad problem to have to be over fat. It's better than the opposite problem of being in fear of starving. We're not that. We're definitely not that. We're not going to starve to death, but we are, what's the word? We are over-caloried, but undernourished. That's a good way of putting it. We're over-caloried and undernourished. Now, because of that, because we live in such a novel environment, there's a few things that you need to do that nobody in human history has ever had to do. The first one, I'm going to start with the sucky ones. The first one that nobody wants to do, but it's going to help a lot, is count your calories. Learn to count calories. Doesn't mean you have to do it all the time. Doesn't mean that you have to be a psycho about it. And every time you go out to eat, you're looking at the menu. When you go out on special occasions, maybe you could use that to just relax and enjoy your time with family and friends or whatever. But all the other time, when you're not with family and friends and you're just eating your regular meals every day, you should have a pretty good idea of how many calories are in each of those meals, roughly speaking. Like I said, we didn't used to have to do that. This is a new thing, but welcome to the modern world. We don't have the luxury of just eating when we're hungry and expecting that to be okay. We have an overabundance of food. It's really delicious. The word for it is hyperpalatable. It's hyperpalatable. It's the most delicious thing that you've ever tasted. It makes monkey brain light up like a Christmas tree. If I gave an Oreo cookie to a caveman 10,000 years ago, he would think I had just given him fruit from the Garden of Eden. Like, what is this? In fact, when Adam and Eve ate the fruit from the Garden of Eden, I'll bet it tasted like Oreos. It was so just delicious beyond anything they could possibly imagine. Because of that, we must be vigilant. We must be vigilant when we're eating, what we eat, when we eat it. We have to know what's in it, roughly speaking. You don't have to be a nutritionist or a dietitian, but a few general things you should know are, you should know how to read a label, a nutrition label on the back of something. That'd be a good place to start. Calories, understand servings, fat, protein, carbohydrates, things like that. Added sugar. The less added sugar you can get in your diet, the better. Just understand basic things like that. And Yeah, count your calories. There's a lot of apps that do that now. Or you can just have a little notebook. Anyways, like I said, I know maybe you're already deflated after I said that. You're like, oh, I don't want to count calories. Oh, I've done that before and it sucks. Maybe you're thinking that. I know. I'm sorry. It does suck. You don't have to do it all the time, but you have to make a habit of doing it some of the time so you have some idea of what's in everything. It's just like budgeting. Do you budget? If you don't, Dave Ramsey just felt a disturbance in the force. You should be budgeting your money. How about this? Do you ever drive in your car and just not look at the gas gauge? Or maybe, do you have a car where the gas gauge doesn't work? Well, that's not good. You got to get that fixed. Otherwise, you're going to run out of gas in the middle of the freeway. You're not just going to guess how much gas you have in. And even if people do have broken gas gauges, I've actually had a broken gas gauge before. Well, you still find a way to roughly measure how much gas you have. You look at the miles on your odometer, and however far you roughly know how many miles you can go before you need to stop and fill up. So that's kind of like having a gas gauge. The point I'm making is that you're not just guessing. You know how much gas you have. You should know how much money you have, and you should know how many calories you're eating per day, roughly speaking. So that's the first one. Got to count calories. Sucks, but that is our cross to bear. Oh, I wish all this hyper delicious food hadn't come to me. So do all who live in such times, but that is not for them to decide. All they have to decide is what to do with the time that is given them. That's what you need to do. Decide to count calories. I'm sorry that we're surrounded by food. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with all of this food? I can't stop eating. Okay, sorry. My next tip. This one is also going to suck. Cooking. You need to learn how to cook. Are you serious when you talk about how we live in a system? When people talk about the system, we live in a system that makes everybody fat and unhealthy. Do you or do you not believe that? If you believe it, okay. These are some. You got to learn how to cook. You got to be able to make your own food at home. Doesn't mean you have to cook every meal, and you're going to probably be eating out all the time. People's lives are busy and complicated. Like, I get that. I understand. But this is the general direction that you need to be moving in. Learning how to cook meals. Easy meals. There's a lot of easy meals to make, but I know you gotta make a list, and you gotta go to the store and you gotta find those ingredients. Then you gotta go home and you gotta make it. Then you gotta clean the dishes. I mean, it's a whole thing. So I understand it's not as easy as just having the discipline. It's a time thing. It's a mental thing. But it's a necessary thing. It is necessary if you want to fight back, and you're an American, so I hope you want to fight back. I hope that you as an American have some sense of, I'm not going to let the freaking food industry, I'm not going to let those bastards just have their way with me. I'm gonna fight back and work to make sure that I am as healthy as I can be, because we know, everyone knows that the processed foods are not good. And, I'll get to that. That's going to be one of my later tips. But for now, when you hear someone give you a tip and you go, oh, well, that's never going to happen. No. Don't say that. Don't say it's never going to happen. Think about it. What are some small steps that you can take to move in the right direction? Let's say you're eating almost no meals at home. Or if you are eating meals at home, they're all like microwave dinners or Pop-Tarts or whatever. Make it a goal to make one meal during this week. One real meal. And if you make enough of it, you'll have leftovers. It's kind of like meal prepping. Do that. That'll get you moving in the right direction. Which brings me to my third tip. The processed foods. Almost everybody, of all the nutritional literature that I've read, and all the scientists and all the nutritionists, dietitians, vegans, carnivores, paleo, vegetarians, Mediterranean, there's one thing that they basically all agree on, whether they would admit it or not, they all seem to agree that the less processed the food is, the better. Now, which unprocessed foods should you be eating? Obviously, they have different agreements on that, but they all seem to agree. If you're eating minimally processed, that's going to be the best for your health, almost always. You can be vegetarian or vegan. You could be carnivore. Maybe not carnivore. I haven't heard as many good things about carnivore, but that might just be because we're completely saturated in plant-based anti-meat propaganda. My real stance is get a little bit of everything. Don't be vegan or carnivore. Eat meat, but also eat your fruits and vegetables. But again, that goes back to my original point, minimally processed. What does minimally processed mean? The fewer ingredients that it took to make it, the better. So on one end, you've got meat, which is just meat, nothing added or anything. You got your fruits and vegetables, seeds, nuts, acorns, just things that appear naturally in nature. Mostly naturally. I know we've genetically modified things, but it's most, for the most part, natural and unprocessed. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Twinkies. Or even microwave dinners. Microwave dinners, I guess, would fall somewhere in the middle, but they still kind of err more toward the very processed, lots of preservatives put into it. The fiber has been taken out. More salt and sugar has been added to make it tastier. Those are all things that you should try and avoid. Not the salt and the sugar necessarily, but the meals and the foods that have had more of that artificially inserted into it. That's not good. They take out the nutrients and they add in other things that you really don't need that much of. So minimally processed. These are the kinds of things, processed foods, or I've heard some people call them food-like substances, because they're not really. It's so low in nutrition. I mean, Cool Whip. What is Cool Whip? What is it? I swear, you couldn't make it. You wouldn't know how to make it yourself at home unless you had a meth lab and Walter White telling you what to do. You wouldn't be able to make your own Cool Whip. Because it's this bizarre mixture of all these different things and chemicals. I hate it when people say chemicals because everything is chemicals. When you bite into an apple, that's tasty. Yeah, that's chemicals. Everything is chemicals. So all the chemicals that are in it. Everything has chemicals, but I guess I'm talking about a certain mixture, a certain concoction of chemicals that make it really delicious, really palatable, and of almost zero value, nutritionally speaking. Shop on the outside at the supermarket, not on the center aisles. Again, for the most part, not looking for a whole turnaround, just general steps in the right direction. I have one more tip. This is a big one. This one's a little more controversial. Protein. Prioritize your protein. I would say, look, I'm not going to go full no carb and all protein and fat, keto. I'm not going to go full keto or full carnivore or anything like that. Carbs are good. It's good to have carbs in your diet. They usually come with fiber. Fiber is very nutritious. Good for your digestion. But for most people, it would be very beneficial, at least for some people. I'm not confident enough to say most people, but well, okay, now I'll say it. I am confident enough to say it. Most people need more protein in their diet. They need more animal products. They need more meat or eggs or milk. They need more of these very nutritionally dense things, these nutritionally dense foods, and comparatively low calorie. and they need a lot more of those, and they need a lot less of the bread, and that's a lot of that, a lot of bread, and just carbs in general. Not fruits and vegetables necessarily. Nobody is getting fat off of fruits and vegetables. We can just dispense with that. But we are eating way more bread. Have you ever looked at how many calories are in like just a regular slice of bread that you get at the store? It's well over 100. It's like, this isn't even a taste. It's not even a tasty slice of bread. It's wheat. It's whole grain. It's wheat. It's like 120 calories. How is that possible? I may as well eat a donut. Prioritize protein. Get more protein in your diet. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. These are all, everything I'm telling you right now is stuff that I'm doing. This is how I maintain my own nutrition. This is how I'm able to go up and down in weight. I'm a little chunky right now, but that's because I've been intentionally gaining weight for the purpose of getting stronger at the gym, which I have. I've broken a few of my records this year. Very exciting stuff for me. Should be for you, though. You too, though. I lost my train of thought. Okay. Learn to count calories. Learn to cook. The less processed, the better. Protein. Prioritize your protein. In fact, count your protein. I know counting sucks, and any marketer worth his salt, any guy trying to market his programs worth his salt is going to say things like, oh, lose weight without ever tracking calories. It's not going to happen. If you're listening to this, I'm shaking my head in disapproval. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Unless you're real disciplined, unless you eat 0 processed foods, you only eat fruits, vegetables, and meat. If that's the only thing you eat, then yeah, you could probably get away with not counting calories and you will be very healthy and very thin. But if you still want to eat other things other than just, if you don't want to go full paleo, then you're going to have to count calories. You're going to have to learn how to cook. You're going to have to try and figure out how to minimally get a diet of minimally processed foods, and figure out how to get more protein in your diet, preferably meat. Get yourself some meat. Oh, anyways, we're going pretty long today. That's all I've got. Go forth, my fitnocrats.